There are some mornings when we just don't feel or look our best. And for me, it's when I don't get a good night's rest. Sometimes just things are on the mind and I can't get to sleep, or for some people it's children, it could be just about anything. But it's that sort of looking and feeling a bit haggard. Case in point, I have just woken from a very bad night's sleep, in fact 2 nights in a row. And it would be very easy for me to just get in the shower, get out, put my hair up, don't even bother with any makeup on my face, put on some sunscreen and go and start my day. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But for me, I've determined that if I put a little bit of extra time into how I look, then that will often translate into how I feel. So for me, it's about sort of this dullness, this ashen kind of colorless complexion that I have. I also feel really tight around the eyes, like they don't even want to be open right now. So today I'm going to share a few of the things that I do to help brighten myself up, which in turn helps me feel more prepared and awake for the day. So first up, the shower. Back in a minute. Okay, well I'm definitely feeling better right now, and particularly due to that little shot blast of cold water at the very end of the shower. So it does sort of help to get the blood going. So the first thing that I'm going to do is introduce a little ice into the routine, because I find that this is fantastic for waking up the face. So I'm using these ice globes, right? And I love these things so much. You stick these in the freezer for about a half an hour before use so you can store them in your fridge, and they are ice cold. And I just use these, oh my gosh, that feels so good. Just place them on the eye. And the ice just starts to get the circulation going. It gets the blood pumping. Oh my gosh, it feels absolutely amazing. And it also can help with lymphatic drainage. Now, if you have puffiness under your eyes, this is going to be your best friend. And you can use this all over your face. And it just feels amazing. They're really great with a hangover too. And I just use these at various points. Now, they do suggest that you kind of drag this across your face, kind of like this. This is what you're going to help to do to encourage the lymphatic drainage. I find it tugs on the skin because I don't have any skincare on yet. So I prefer to roll it. And you can use it on various parts of the body. And let me tell you, it wakes you up. It feels absolutely amazing. And it just, you do start to feel more alert. These things are fab. Now, let me warn that they say that you can store these in the freezer. Now, there are different brands. This one is by StylePro. And I'm on my 3rd set now, because they say that you can keep them in the fridge, in the freezer. And they lie, because they've cracked. So I got my first set as a gift. I think I cried when I cracked it, because it had only been a week or so. So I bought another replacement set. And I kept that in my little fridge that I keep here, my skincare fridge. And that cracked, because apparently the fridge is more of a freezer half the time. So I bought these new ones, so decided to put them in the freezer about a half an hour before. And they feel amazing. And I think my favorite is just putting it on the eyes. Because for me, that's where I carry, my tiredness is right in here. And it's already feeling infinitely better. Oh my gosh, that just feels so good. Okay, so I think that these by StylePro retail for about 35 euros. And I think the first ones were a lot more expensive. And the originals, which are a French brand, were even more expensive again. I didn't buy those though. And I think that this just feels so incredibly cooling on the skin. Oh, I could actually do this all day. Sometimes on a Sunday morning, if I've had a little too much wine, this is my best friend. That's amazing. The one other reason I like this brand so much is these little sleeves come off. And so when you put them in the freezer, you take them out and you pop these little handles on. And the previous versions I have didn't have that. So I would be wrapping it up in a towel or putting paper towels on it or something, because otherwise your hands freeze. So this is a fantastic I think, development by StylePro. I'll put the links to all these products down below, by the way. So the next stage, and for me is probably the most important, is hydration. I think it is the name of the game, and it does a body good. So I'm not going to really harp on about drinking a lot of water. Yes, I am. You should drink a lot of water. It's the first thing I do in the morning. This little Yeti, if you know me, is constantly attached to my left hand. It's constantly filled with ice water, and I drink it all day long. Yeah, do that. Do that first. And then it's about putting hydration on my skin. And this is where skincare comes in. Now, I'm not going to walk you through the entire routine because that might take a little longer. The one piece of advice I would give is to mist in between each skincare phase. So whatever mist you use, I start with the toner, I do that first, and then I go through my series of products. I have 2 eye products, I do a serum, I do an eye serum, and I do an eye cream, and then I do some other all over my face steps. In between each of those, I apply a mist because that keeps your skin damp and your products will sink in better onto damp skin. So by constantly keeping my skin damp, it's able to better absorb the products, and it's just giving me another blast. So it's just hydration upon hydration upon hydration. Okay guys, we're getting there. So I have put on my sunscreen. My hair is about 80% dry. I have gotten my first coffee of the day because there was no way I'm getting through a day like today without coffee. And in fact, I'm not getting through any day without coffee. So this is my first. It's just a black coffee, an instant coffee with 1 scoop of my Vital Proteins Collagen Peptides powder. And next I'm just going to do my hair. So my hair is generally about 80% dry when I go in with my handy dandy Revlon One Step. So now I'm just going to get the hair done. So next I'm moving on to the makeup. So the key to me and makeup is to not overdo it. At this stage, my skin is looking nicely hydrated and I want that to shine through. I do not want to wear a heavy makeup. This is not about masking. It's never about masking in my book anyway, but it's not about covering everything up. It's just about illuminating, covering a little bit of the flaws, evening out the skin tone, because that for me is what it's always about, is evening out the skin tone. Now I don't have big dark circles under my eyes. Now if I did, the first thing I would be doing is a concealer. I would be using this one by Lancome, which is their Teint Idole Ultra Wear All Over Concealer. It's a great product. I'm not seeing big dark circles right now, so I'm actually going to forgo this. And this is the product that I probably use the most in my makeup kit. And this is my Under Eye Brightener from Becca. And this does exactly what it says, is it brightens the under eye. So again, I'm trying to bring lightness and I'm trying to bring sort of dewiness, and because that is youth and that is energy and that is the opposite of how I feel right now. So we're going to use it. It just doesn't even take very much. And this is sort of my magic weapon because brightening up under the eye makes you look awake. And that, my dears, is a little bit of magic. And oops, got it on my nose. And that just right off the bat makes you look more awake. And that's the name of the game here. It is hiding the fact that I'm exhausted and want to go to bed. Okay, look at that brightness. Oh, this is just my favorite product. I thought they were going to discontinue it. It turns out, I think Smashbox bought them out, so it is still available. But I do understand Beauty Pie also has a very similar product for a fraction of the price, but I haven't been buying from Beauty Pie these days. Thank you very much, Brexit. Okay, so right off the bat, I'm already feeling better. So I am going to put a little bit of foundation on, but I'm not going to go for a heavy foundation. And when I'm filming ordinarily, if I was going to be a regular filming day, I would be wearing this. This is my new Second Skin Dewy Finish Foundation by Sculpted by Aimee Connolly. I mentioned this, I think, in the last video last Friday. It is becoming a firm favorite. I'm reaching for it all the time. But it's a heavier coverage, and I don't really want that today. So I'm going to go for a much lighter. So I'm going to go for this Tinted Serum by Rose Inc instead. Again, I did a video about this quite recently, and it just delivers a lovely finish. It is quite light, and it's almost barely there, but it just makes everything a little bit better. And that's what I'm going to wear because I want my skin to shine through, but I just want it to look fresher, and I want it to look healthier. Now, this is also a shade darker than what I probably need. It'd be great in the summer. But it's just the right finish. You know, I recently did a video comparing this to Chanel's Eau de Teint, the Water Fresh Tint. They're very similar, and I just prefer this one so much more. Look at that finish. Isn't that just lovely? It's a bit of dewiness. It's not a huge amount of coverage. We're going to ignore the fact that it's probably a hair too dark. But I think that just makes me look alive. So the key for makeup is illuminating. It is dewy, particularly if you're of a certain age and your skin sort of leans to the drier side. So this, to me, just looks refreshed. Now, if you are a matte wearing girl and you don't have any illuminating, what you can do is you can add a little bit of product to your foundation for it to give this sort of luminosity. One are the Watermelon Drop by Glow Recipe, and the other option is by Glossier, and it is their Future Dew. Both of these products have an illuminating factor to them, so if you mix them with the foundation, it will just give you that glow. And I think that's the name of the game when I'm feeling so dull and exhausted. The glowiness that I'm getting right now makes me feel more alert. And it just, as a result, when I look at myself in the mirror, I'm thinking, gosh, this is not a reflection of how I feel, so it's actually starting to help me feel better. So I've got a good glowiness going on. Now, ordinarily, particularly if I was filming, I would probably put on a little bit of powder, just kind of under the eyes and down the center of my nose, but I'm actually not going to do it because this is what's keeping me alive and alert looking. So I'm not going to powder my nose. I'm going to leave that as is. And I'm just going to do a few things. I'm going to do a tiny bit of blush because I need the color. Because, you know, the face is looking a little bit lifeless. This is also by Rose Inc. and it's a new favorite. And I'm realizing how well this matches with my top at the moment. Come on, hair out of the way. It's actually a perfect match for my shirt. The other thing is go up with the makeup. So you can see I'm kind of going up towards the temple. I don't do it here because when you get to a certain age, everything starts to fall. So all the makeup needs to point up towards the temples. Okay, looking more alive now. A couple of other things I'm going to do. I'm not going to bother with, and I'm not going to do any kind of contouring or any kind of bronzing because that's actually going to put darkness on my face that today I just don't want. I feel like there's a dark cloud over me already. So we're just going to leave that to the side today. Okay, so next I'm going to do a little bit of eye product. The first is using my Wet n Wild palette. I think this is called Color Icon in Nude Awakening. I bought this quite recently. I think it cost about $6 and I love it. I'm using it to death. So I'm going to take this sort of nudie color. It's slightly darker than the skin tone, and I'm just going to use that here just to give a little bit of definition, a tiny bit. I'm not doing a ton of eye makeup here. It's just to give it a little bit of depth. Barely, barely noticeable. But what is going to be important is a bit of a highlighter, you know, something brighter on the eyelids. That's going to be important. Let's see, I might just do it with my finger. There are these sort of these colors here, brightening colors, and I love this little light pink one here. I'm just going to dab it on with my finger. It just sort of brightens it all up a little bit. I don't know. My eyelids are actually looking a lot darker than I thought they were. I probably should have done a base. I'm actually going to go in. Oops. I'm actually going to do this, I think. I should have put a primer on it first because I show my discoloration in my eyelids. That's what tends to be a bit darker. All right, well that's going to do. So you can see a little bit of brightness. There's a tiny bit of shimmer in it, so it just brings it forward. And then the next thing that I'm going to do is actually an eyeliner, and I very seldom use an eyeliner, but I'm going to use this one in sort of a pearlescent nude color. Now this one is by Marc Jacobs. It's the Highliner, and I think it's called In the Buff. You can't get these anymore. And I'm disappointed because they have such a beautiful formulation to them. But I'm just going to line the insides of my eye. You know what, I actually think I probably need to buy a new one. This could be dying at this stage. Because you are, by lining the eye, it's bringing in a bit of brightness. The worst thing that I could do right now is do an eyeliner in a dark color. It would just bring me down, man. Can you see how that just brightens it up? Now, I know that they've discontinued this, and you can't find this anymore. So if you know of any dupes for the Marc Jacobs Highliner, please put that down below because I need to replenish this stock. I think it's actually a bit old and it's not working as well as it should right now. It's a bit like me this morning. Not working as well as it should. Okay. But can you see the difference in that and how it brightens up the eyes? Can you see that, Karen? Mm-hmm. Can you see that? He's like, what? I'm asleep standing up. And then the very last thing I'm going to do is a little bit of mascara. I'm not going to overdo it. I'm not going to do it on the bottom lash. I'm going to put it on the top only. Just to open up the eyes a little bit more, but I don't want to overdo it. What I'm trying to not do is cover everything up with makeup. which is what we would automatically sort of lean to. Cover everything up, put on a mask, and get through the day. Okay, tiny bit. And then you always have to do a tiny bit of the eyebrows because I have holes in them. Okay, and I'm not even going to bother lipstick because I can't be arsed. So, you know, the baby lips and Cherry Me is just my all-time favorite. I wear it all day long. Okay. Okay, guys, so that's what I do on a day when I need a little bit more. And it would have been very easy to do none of this. It would have been easy to shower, put my hair up, not worry about any of it. But you know what? It just wouldn't be as easy to get through the day. So now I feel like I'm looking fresh. I am definitely feeling fresher. It took me longer than usual. I mean, taking the time to do the globes and all of that, for me was worth it. It's woken me up. And chances are by halfway through the day, I will have forgotten about my bad night's sleep and I will sort of be in motion for the day. So that is it for today's video. I fear it's a long one, so thanks for staying with me on it. But hopefully there are a few tricks in here or some things that might help you if you wake up in a bad mood or you're just not feeling great or you didn't get the sleep that you needed, but you know you have to get through the day. And if you have any tips and tricks, please do leave those down below because we could all benefit from a little help, I think, in this area because no one is immune to bad sleep. And some of us probably more used to it than others. Luckily, it's not a problem I suffer from often, but today is one of those days. So if you have any tips and tricks, any pointers for me, please leave those down below. And if you like the look of the video, please do subscribe to my channel, give the video a thumbs up, and hit that notification bell. So thanks again for joining today, and I will see you at the next video. Bye. Now, particularly if you suffer from, okay, fuck that, let's try that again.